Going on YouTube, Cloverwell's here back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today I'm going to take a deeper dive and look at Alolan-Ninetales within the Regulation H format right now. So this is a Pokemon that is, getting a lot of play recently and is doing very well in a lot of tournaments, and for good reason, because it offers a lot of tools, just against a lot of the common stuff right now, especially against the Pelipper weather teams, because you get to take their weather away. But of course, we got to see it on full display back at Baltimore when we got to see Paul Chua's team. This team we know already, right? And again, this was originally like, oh, this is pretty cool because look, there's no screens on the Ninetales. Normally, this could get the Aurora Veil, but instead it has something like, Blizzard, Freeze Dry, and Encore. This we got to know throughout the last couple of weeks. People have been using this team a lot, and it's been, doing pretty well. And I do expect to see some form of this heading into Louisville, right? It's just a great squall overall with double Dragon Course, which we just covered in the previous video. So I do expect to see this type of team, but this is not the only type of Ninetales team that is doing really well. And that's kind of what I wanted to look at in today's video, because there's some toolkits that it still gets that's quite good, whether you have Aurora Veil or not. So first of all, Blizzard, really good. Along with Snow, because again, 100% accurate move, great into a lot of those double dragons. Again, Dragonite, Garchomp, they just melted. You're forcing one of them to Terra immediately. Dragapult also doesn't want to be taking ice type attacks. And then you also have fairy coverage. And remember, right now we're in a format where there's not a lot of fairies running around besides like Primarina. So to get another one like Alolan-Ninetales is really good, especially with all those dragons running around. And then you still have stuff like Annihilate, that's around, and then even the grass types like Rillaboom, Amoonguss, they don't want to be taking ice type attacks either, so that's really good. And again, like I said, you're able to take away their Archelid Rain stuff because you can just bring out the Snow, get a defense boost, and kind of just stay on the field and be super bulky, right? So you can also just do this set where you can just do Blizzard, Freeze Dry, okay, and then you can do Encore. By the way, Freeze Dry really good right now, especially against other water types too. Just imagine another Primarina, you could, some, just the Dondozo stuff, right? They don't want to be taking Freeze Dry either. And then you can just Encore lock certain things where, if they go for Fake Out or Protect, you can just lock them in. And that's really annoying, of course. Then you can either go for something like Moonblast, which again, like we said, pretty good right now because there's not a lot of fairy coverage. And there's a lot of fighting types right now. And one way to really beat those fighting types is with fairy coverage. So Ninetales can kind of fit that role too. And then from here, there's a lot of other things you can do with this. You can also go for Icy Wind speed control, which is quite nice when you're paired with other Pokemon that either on a Tailwind team or a relatively balanced team where you don't have necessarily Tailwind, but Icy Wind can give you that control. And again, not a lot of things want to be taking Icy Wind speed drops, so also very helpful in that regard. And then from here, you can even just use the Choice Specs variant. I've seen this rise a little bit, as of late. And again, Paul was not using specs, but again, this is something that has been used in recent weeks, where now you can also offer, something like this with Moonblast. You can also do something like Dazzling Gleam. That's also really cool. And again, the Terra type, you can just do like Terra Water for the Goldengo resistance. That's also okay. You can even go like Terra Ice for a little bit more damage. I've even seen the Never Melt Ice item, just have a little bit more damage. But I think Specs is also like really good because now your Ninetales can actually do some damage. This base special attack, 81 is not all that great, but if you can just add a little bit more like this is still like okay, it'll do decent damage, but decent spread move. Blizzard Specs is doing a ton of work, okay? And then Freeze Dry, same thing, single target ideas. And if you don't want something like this with Icy Wind, you can even go for Ice Beam. I have seen this as well. So this is another way that you can do that. And of course, like we said, the standard Aurora Veil set is still pretty good. So you can just do something like this with Light Clay. And you can do the Aurora Veil like this. And then after that, you can even just go for Encore, or you can just go for Protect. Either way, it's still like good for your team if you can just give yourself screens. Because you've seen how successful Grimmsnarl has been in the last couple of regionals. Makes a lot of sense, right? But, now that you don't have, now you can just set Aurora Veil. Now, you do have to worry about weather being changed on you, stuff like Torkoal or Pelipper. But if you're in the right position and you get up in Aurora Veil, it just makes it that much harder for your opponent to break through to you, okay? So, lots of good ideas with Ninetales. So, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at some of the other non-Paul Chua teams, okay, that have been able to bring out the best out of Ninetales. And then we'll build you not one, but we'll build 2 squads with Ninetales. So this way you can also take into consideration, something like this, and maybe even bring it with you into Louisville. So who knows? Okay, so without further ado, let's go into the Lab Mouse website. Let's take a look at some other Ninetales teams. Okay, so here we are, and this is just the Ninetales teams from the last couple of weeks. Look how successful these Ninetales teams are. And again, it's not just all about the Chomp Dragonite double Dragon Cord. Like, you do see that, but it's not the only way to run it, which is good. That's what we want, which means the Ninetales is very splashable on a lot of different teams, just like the Primarina. And sometimes people are even just forgoing the Primarina altogether and just putting Clear Smog on their Moonis just to respect Dondozo. You can definitely do that, but just all together, maybe just removing the Prim and just going with the Ninetales all in, because Dondozo usage is down now quite a lot. Not a lot of people are playing it, so you can kind of forgo that. And now maybe the time to go back to playing Dondozo because there's less checks going around for it. But let's take a look at some of these teams. So this one was from Dortmund. Okay, this is a combo team. All right, so this one is just the Sash Ninetales with Blizzard, Freeze Dry, and Encore. And then you have like standard Como Old Balance ideas with Rillaboom, Buzz, Gambit. And then the Basculegion with adaptability is quite interesting. But this is Clanging Scales. So look at this, Dragon Fairy, Steel Core. But I like this a lot. So Freeze Dry, good pressure into the other dragons, and then Encore locking them. And then of course Blizzard Spam, control the weather. That is something that we've seen throughout one of the more common Ninetales sets. Agati also had one, right, from Joinville. So it's basically the same 6 at Mr. Trua, but there is a variance in the sets. Of course, this is the Bandit Chomp here, and then this is the Specs Ninetales, which again is also on the rise as of late. And some people are even forgoing the Ice Beam for something like Icy Wind speed control. So that's also another way, like we said and showed you, this is another way to really utilize the Ninetales, just to really bring out the damage. But look as we go down here. So you can even look at this in terms of the Sneasler balance stuff, right? So normally there would be something like a Primarina over here, but now you have a support Volcarona set, with Will-O-Wisp. So if you're going against something like Dozo, you can just burn it with a Will-O-Wisp, pressure it with Grassy Glide or even Wood Hammer, make it force a Terra, and then Ninetales can do some big super damage into it, right? So you can consider it like that. Then you have something like this from Daniel's team. This is just, Mouse Ape, Talonflame, Goldengo ideas with Rillaboom, and this normally would be the Primarina, but now we have the Ninetales here going for the Aurora Veil, disable Encore Lock. Oh, that's super, super annoying. Okay, whoever this person is, this is evil, okay? But I like this. This is a really, really good way to play it, and I like this core, so this is something that you can also consider building around. Then look at this, 8-2. All right, from the Widely Tour, look at this Chandelure set, Shadow Ball, Heat Wave, Energy Ball, Extra Ball, but look at this Ninetales set. Again, so this is the Light Clay variant, Blizzard, Aurora Veil, Encore Protect. So no Fairy move here because you got the Fairy type already with the Hatterene. So very interesting squad. I like this a lot. I wish I could play this rental. I want to use Chandelure here, so I guess I might have to just make my own team, but that is another possibility. Then you have this one. So you can also just play Ninetales with Dondozo, right? If you want to play Dondozo yourself. I have seen Dondozo teams with Ninetales in the past, and it still works, right? So you can just set up your Dozo behind screens, which is relatively annoying. Look at this Palmon going for coaching here. This is pretty interesting. So you could coach your Dondozo, switch it out for Tatsugiri. So that's pretty cool. I think that's a great idea. And then you can also see the Ninetales like this, where you can slap it onto those P2 Flamingo balance cores. So instead of like, maybe Garchomp or a Goldengo here, we can add the Ninetales with, again, some decent pressure with the Icicle Plate, right? So just Blizzard, Freeze Dry, Encore, and Protect. So again, super aggressive, especially against, those Pelipper teams. You can Freeze Dry those Pelippers and just melt them. And Archelon without it just doesn't really do all that much. It still can, of course, but it really wants that rain benefit there, right? So as we scroll down, we see some other stuff, like even this one over here with the Hisuian Decidueye and the Zoroark over here. This is also very, very annoying, right? So more Dondozo stuff with Glimmer, and then the Ninetales screens with the Aurora Veil. That's also, again, pretty standard in terms of trying to use it. Then look at this. This is another Flamingo balance idea. This time we add the Goldengo back here, but we have the Volcarona with Struggle Bug, Fire Blast. Okay, that's a tech, and this is the Specs Ninetales variant. But again, look at this one. Now it has Weather Ball. So look at this. Terra Ice, Weather Ball Ninetales. This is another reason why I wanted to show this to you, because you're also considering this. If Pelipper can use Weather Ball, why can't the Ninetales, right? Same with Torkoal. So everyone's using Weather Ball now. So instead of single target Ice Beam, you can just do single target Weather Ball, and that still works out totally fine. Okay. Then you can even do some other niche stuff like this, where you can add double Weather Ninetales along with the Archeolodon stuff, and also just go for screens. And then, now Annihilate and even Archeolodon are just behind screens overall. I just think Grimmsnarl is just a little bit better. I don't know about the conflicting weather like this, but hey, I think it still has potential, and maybe could get some exploration later on. But yeah. Then, as I have seen a couple teams like this, so let's look at this 6-0 team. All right, so Dragapult with Sneasler balance stuff, but then it's Ninetales and the Primarina on the same team, so you can just do like double fairy stuff. This, you still have your Haze user, and now your Ninetales also, again, with that spec set with Blizzard, Freeze Dry, Icy Wind, and Moonblast. Very standard set that you want to use with the Ninetales if you're going to go the spec set. So this is pretty cool in itself. And this is, look, this is AV Ensign, right? This is a setup Volcarona set. But yeah, I think there's lots of different ways where you can really bring out Ninetales' potential. But again, the point is that it's very splashable on a lot of different teams. Look at even this one, Ross Stewart, 7-2 with the Gengar. Excuse me? Shadow Ball, Sludge Bomb, Haze, that's a standard Gengar set. Look at the Ninetales set. Freeze Dry, Icy Wind, Aurora Veil, Misty Terrain. This is the other one I wanted to spotlight, because Ninetales also gets Misty Terrain, and that's one of the rising techs heading into Louisville, is the Misty Terrain tech, because we saw it from Clefable, but now lots of other people are trying it too on some of their other prankster Pokemons like Grimmsnarl and Whimsicott. And now you can even consider that on the Ninetales here. So now you're just, reducing dragon damage, and not only that, but you're stopping the Sneasler shenanigans and the Amoonguss stuff. No sleep, no poison, no burn. Don't stop any of that. Okay, so Misty Terrain, no status conflictions like that. So that's pretty cool, and I do respect that tech on the Ninetales. And hopefully, by showing you all these teams, with the variants and the Ninetales sets, this gives you some ideas and how you can use it yourself. Look at even this one. What about this one right here? This one's just Aurora Veil, Protect, Blizzard, Freeze. Okay, that one is not quite as interesting, but hey, we got to show you lots of different options, right? So take a peek at Lab Mouse, see what you want to try with it. Besides the double dragon stuff, I think there's a lot more room where Ninetales can be used. We just haven't really seen them yet, but it's really cool to see it splash on a lot of different teams. So let's go back into the builder. Let's build our own couple of Ninetales squads with 2 different sets, and let's see if we can get the best out of it as well. All right, so we're back here into the team build here. So let's take a look at this. So let's go with the Dragon Fairy Steel Core first. So let's go with Garchomp, because Garchomp is really strong right now. Good ground coverage against the Sneasler stuff. And then we'll also just simply pair it with Talonflame and Goldengo here. So we already know how strong Goldengo, Talonflame, and Chomp is, right? And now you add the bulk with the Ninetales here. And when I say bulk, I mean we are going to use the Aurora Veil variant. And then from here, let's get some fairy coverage and Moonblast. And then, of course, Encore locking things is just quite funny. So we'll just go with that regard. And then we'll go Terra Ghost here, just so that we can always ensure that we can get off a potential Blizzard or Aurora Veil. So this is going to be our supportive Ninetales set. That's going to be, like, relatively bulky. And then after this, I just want to slap on Mouse Hold. And I want to slap on Annihilate here. Okay, you can even slap on, like, a Primarina stuff over here. But I think this is also okay. So now from here, I want some damage out of the Garchomp. So I have my Defiant user in the Annihilate. Normally this would be something like a King Gambit, but because I have the Ape here, what I can do against some of those Intimidate teams is just lead Garchomp, Annihilate, switch it out for potentially like maybe something like Mouse Hold here or even Talonflame, and then just go from there and let Garchomp come back in later on when the Intimidate user or the Intimidate buff is gone, right? So let's go Rough Skin, and then let's just go Life Orb here on the Chomp. And pretty standard stuff here, with Dragon Claw. I did it again. I put Pulse. Dragon. There we go. Dragon Claw. Earthquake, of course. Then you can go Stomping Tantrum, your single target move, which just a straight on Protect, Terra Fire. Really good. Again, no burns. And more importantly, no fairy type super effective damage. This one, I just want a standard Covert Cloak Talonflame set. I do like Terra Grass on it right now. I think it's pretty good. Ghost is also still like pretty solid. But Brave Bird, Tailwind, with Will-O-Wisp and Taunt is also pretty cool. I like this Talonflame set. Damage mitigation, disruption stuff with Taunt. Taunt Encore is just also very evil combination of movesets there. So let's go Jolly again with just rounding out my EV sets here. Something like this, right? Then the Chomp also, again, the Chomp also, you just want to go Jolly. You don't need to optimize the Life Orb chip here. I think that's too much of a damage loss. But with something like the Ninetales here, I still want to go max speed, but I'll give this thing some bulk. I don't really need damage out of it. So it might seem a little underwhelming, but it's not. Its job is to not necessarily do damage, right? We just want to be bulky and supportive and stay on the field. So I want to just go this much in SpDef and just dump the rest into defense like this, right? Just be super bulky on the physical side. And from there, just optimize this against Tyranitar Sandshirk. And, that's all I need my Ninetales to do. Just be super bulky on the physical side. Now, we are going to get a boost anyway because of the defense boost that we're getting from Snow. But, it's still pretty cool to have a little bit more extra thing, right? And if anything, if you want, you can dump the rest into special defense. But I like a little bit more defense on my Ninetales. All right, Goldango here. I'm going to make this thing Metal Coat. I think just getting some damage out of it is quite nice. And then we have the setup, Make It Rain, Shadow Ball, Nasty Plot, and then Protect here. Terra Steel is okay. I still like making this thing super bulky, especially when you have a Friend Guard with Ninetales. So what I'm going to do is just make this about 20 speed, right? Yeah, 28. So that this way under Tailwind we outspeed the Dragapult. Let's go second bump here in the special attack stat. And again, if you're trying to get better at competitive Pokemon, if you don't know what EV bumps are, make sure you comment in the video below asking what are EV bumps, because it's a very fundamental skill to understand in trying to create EVs. We made a whole video on this on the channel 2 months ago, not 2 months ago, but maybe a month and a half ago. What are EV bumps and how to optimize your EV spreads? Watch both of those videos. It's like the bread and butter of the channel. It is what we do, and it's what we try to teach. So hopefully you give those a watch. But if not, comment below asking what are EV bumps, and I will respond to you and I will reply to you. Okay. I think this is still okay, right? Just in case of Rillaboom, Grassy Terrain stuff, and then just having 108 defense, just a little bit, and then just 1 point in the SpDef department. I think this is still like okay. And then the mouse hold over here, of course, goggles, redirect the Amoonguss stuff. That's pretty annoying. Again, just follow me, beat up, taunt, and then protect you. So look, we got 2 taunt users, all right, and then we have an encore user. So this is it's pretty annoying. And then we can go Terra Ghost here. All right, simple 2/5/2 set. Just all the HP and speed in the world, and just timid. Just so that you don't do as much damage into your own Annihilate there, right? Just the least amount of damage possible, and then just put the defense here like this, right? So 0 speed. Yeah, that's pretty okay. All right, now with the Annihilate here, I like Terra Fire just like my Chomp, no burns, and at the same time, I do like Lumberry just because of the the shenanigans that you might get from a Sneasler stuff, Amoonguss, whatever it is. But Drain Punch, Bulk Up. And of course the Rage Fist, and then the Protect over here. And just in terms of our EV sets as well, I like to just go max speed on this Annihilate, just so that I have the faster ape just a little bit in the attack stat, maybe just this much, right? Just to get a nice even number for your defenses, after the bulk ups, +1 bulk up, get a nice even number there, and then just go to about 180 investment, right? 208 HP. This will normally be optimal for leftover stuff. Or even Grassy Terrain, but again, we don't have leftovers, but it's still fine. Then after that, you just dump the rest in SpDef. That's all you really need. Okay, but this is our first variant of our Ninetales squad. So again, we have Tailwind stuff. Okay, we've got Goldango over here, doing a lot of damage. Encore Ninetales with Aurora Veil, really good at stalling out potential Tailwind and Trick Room teams, and then even Friend Guard can help you out with that. And then of course the Annihilate setup stuff is quite strong at the same time. So this is a starting point with our Tails. So a defensive supportive Tails. So let's go ahead and let's test in a few battles to see how it does. Okay, this is some Drifblim Grassy Seed stuff with Rillaboom. So that's probably going to have Tailwind. There's a back Scalper there, which is pretty interesting, but no Ninetales himself. Blood Moon, haven't seen too much lately. I still think it's pretty good. I still think it's like high B tier, and people need to revamp in terms of how you want to use it, but it's still like very, very strong. You can hit ghost types. There's a lot of that right now. The problem is Sneasler, right? So anyway, I I see what he has, so I just want to start off a little bit of a balanced idea like this. So we're going to go with Talonflame here, and I am going to go with Gholdengo here. I want to start by doing a ton of damage here. I'm going to go into Ninetales. I just want to not take the Counter Cleave immediately. He does go for Fake Out, but that's still fine because I get to burn the Kingambit, which is all I really wanted, right? And then there's the Counter Cleave, which obviously just doesn't do that much damage overall, right? So now we can pressure with Blizzard. We can set up the Aurora Veil if we want. I'm going to go into Garchomp here, and there's my Blizzard. Decent damage into the Boom. If disrespects, that picks up. But then he has Drum Beating, and that is unfortunate because, again, that drops my speed, and it does neutral damage into Chomp here. So that's a little unfortunate there. But again, the Ninetales still hangs on. So now what I can do is just protect the Chomp first, and now I can get up the Aurora Veil. He wanted the Chomp. I knew I was going to live Grassy Glide, but there's the Iron Head. So he has Iron Head here, right? So, but that's okay. I got the Veil up. And now I can go into my other options here. So I can go back into the Ape here, or I can go back into the Gholdengo. So, you know, I can go Terra Steel here. And there's another Drum Beating. Here I probably should have just switched out instead of letting it drop. All right, I go for Nasty Plot. Counter Cleave does nothing, especially when I have the Veil up and I'm Terra Steel. But yeah, I definitely should have even considered just switching on the Chomp. But here's the Talonflame now. So he switches out into Primarina. Why he does this, I'm not sure, but I just want to click Tailwind and I just want to click Make It Rain. Right? This is decent damage into Kingambit, and it just removes the Primarina altogether. And now there's a Counter Cleave. But of course, with the Ninetales Aurora Veil, we're just able to champ that very, very well here. So now he goes into Rillaboom, so it brings back the Grassy Terrain. And he clicks Fake Out into Gholdengo, but that doesn't really matter a ton because now we can just nuke the Rillaboom with the Talonflame here with the Brave Bird and the Kingambit. He can do whatever he wants, but he goes for the Talonflame and he does pick it up. But that being said, he has a burnt Kingambit. I have a pretty much full HP Gholdengo with the Aurora Veil one more turn. Now he has a Drifblim. Now here I could have just clicked Make That Rain, but I was a little bit greedy and I went for a Shadow Ball here. I think there you just always make it rain and you know you just pick up everything. So like Low Kick obviously is not doing anything. This is definitely like AV Gambit stuff, but that's not enough here. So now after this, just click the Make It Rain and just end the game here because we let the Gambit alone. We isolated that slot. We burned it. It wasn't doing any damage because of that. And even though we were down to our Gholdengo just cleans up. So thank you, Ninetales. Okay, so this is another one of those teams where you can see the Ninetales. So this is a mirror almost, right? So it's double dragons with Ninetales, and then there's the Vivian with the Incin and the Kingambit stuff. So what was interesting here is that this was Scale Shot Dragonite, which is, again, like we said, another Rising Tech, just like Misty Terrain. But here's the Incin and there's the Dragonite. That's a mistake. So now my Annihilape gets a boost, and now we can set up screens. We can set up Blizzard. We can do whatever we want here. I'm just going to, yeah, I knew he'd fake out that thing. So I just wanted to get up my bulk up stuff, right? So even though the Dragonite may just go for this Scale Shot, it's okay. So it's actually Tailwind Dragonite. So there's the Scale Shot. He misses, and that's one of the drawbacks behind it. I get up my screens, goes for Flare Blitz. We obviously live because we got up the Veil, and we just Drain Punch the instant, and we say thanks for coming, right? So Dragonite has to deal with the +1 defense, +2 Annihilape Gambit. Oh, now you just bring in the Gambit. That just drops. He Terra Darks for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah, this is totally fine here. The defense drops. He gets a speed boost, but what is that really doing, right? So there's the Blizzard, and there's the Swords Dance, but of course he's not going to get a chance to use it because we just Drain Punch it, right? So not a smart Terra there. I probably would have just even just Terra the Dragonite in that case. But here comes his own Ninetales. So there's Blizzard from him, and he goes for another Scale Shot, but just like the first, he missed. So great job on him. Blizzard takes out D-Knight, didn't really get a chance to do anything, and now after that we just Rage Fist and the game is over. So Ninetales Annihilape lead, really good. Again, as long as you can get in position, you know, and the bulk up is quite nice. The physical options that's running around just cannot break you, and now you add the Aurora Veil, the Annihilape is just sitting there. Sometimes you don't even need the Ninetales, right? But just straight up Mouse Ape can just win, and I kind of saw that over here. Look at this. Like, he does have Gholdengo Sneasler stuff, but in reality, everything else is not great against my Annihilape, especially with Terrafire, by the way. So, here we go. I'm going to go Mouse Hold, and I'm going to go the Annihilape. What does he do? He goes for the Dragonite, and he goes with the Sneasler. This is fine. So, what I want to do is actually just keep and test him, right? So, I'm going to protect and see what he does, and I'm just going to go for bulk up. So he goes for the E-speed into the mouse hold, and he goes for close combat. What if I Terra Ghosted right then and there? But I didn't want to do that. So I break the sash on the Sneasler, which is what I wanted. Now I'm going to go into Goldengo because I see how he's targeting. There's the close combat, and there is another E-speed. But I see that I'm faster than the D9, so that's really good. Goes for Dragon Claw, obviously not doing much. But he protects Sneasler, that's smart. But again, we are Metal Coat Goldengo. All right, this is going to do a lot of damage. And it does already more than half, which is what we wanted. He hazes, but he also hazed away my Metal Coat, my -1 special attack with the Make It Rain. So now I can just bulk up again. And now he can't haze because I just outspeed him and I take him out again, right? So thanks for coming, Sneasler and Dragonite. That was not advisable, right? So after that, it's just Rillaboom giving me more recovery. And Insane from the back just, you know, again, giving me the fire, which is really great. I'm just going to switch out into Mouse Hold real quick. And I'm just going to click Protect here. There's not a whole lot he can really do, especially now that all these things are single target. I can get rid of the Instant right now and recover everything with the Drain Punch. And then I can just isolate the Rillaboom, which I don't even think can break the Mouse Hold here, right? Unless he went for Wood Hammer, but he didn't. So now we just punch the Instant. There it is. We recover everything. And now, like you've always seen out of Mouse Hold and Nihilip, he cannot break through, and he has no choice but to click the forfeit button. Okay, I'm going to build you a second Ninetales team, but this one is going to be more aggressive. This is going to be the Choice Spec set. So I'm going to go Blizzard, of course, right? Wow, I cannot type. Blizzard. Then we're going to go Moonblast. Then we're going to go Freeze Dry. Of course, Freeze Dry is so good right now. And then let's get a little speed control with Icy Wind. I don't need Ice Beam. I think I'm okay with Freeze Dry. And then from here, I'm going to pair this with some Pokemon that generally would appreciate the Icy Wind. So this way they can outspeed everything else. So I'm talking about Dragapult and I'm talking about Sneasler here. These guys are two of the faster mons in the format. But if you just have Tailwind against them, then, you can outspeed some of these threats. So what we're going to do is, use the Ninetales, click Icy Wind stuff, and then that can help us outspeed things after Tailwind, because then we can break even more or less. So here's what we're going to do. After this, just standard stuff, we're going to go Gambit, of course, with either Magmar or Electabuzz. I think I like Magmar a little bit more right now. And then after this, then we'll add the Rillaboom here, of course. Double fake out pressure and stuff like that. So Ninetales with this set, I'm going to go Terra Water here. And then the Pult is also going to be pretty standard, with the band. And then you're going to have, of course, Terra Dragon still okay. You can have Dragon Darts. You can have, oh, I did it again. Outrage, Phantom Force, and then U-Turn. Of course, the pivot move, Dragon Darts. There we go. Then the Sneasler, also pretty standard. I do like Unburden with the Sash. I think that's also solid. Right here. And here we go. So this one we'll just do like Terra Stellar. But of course, I like Fake Out along with Rillaboom, double Fake Out, Dire Claw, Close Combat, and Protect. Great at stalling out things. Very solid Pokemon overall. And then again, just going the Jolly route is good. But I also want to just go Adamant. I am Sash. And I do have Icy Wind. So yeah, let's just go with like that. King Gambit. I do like the black glasses. Right? It's also like, again, just really, really strong. And then just Kowtow Cleave, Sucker Punch, Swords Dance, and then just simple Protect over here. The Magmar here, of course, the Violite, quite good. I like going this Timid route, by the way, which I'll explain again in a second. But again, Overheat, which you can also sub with Flamethrower if you really want. Will-O-Wisp, Follow Me, and then just Protect, right? And then, of course, also Terra Ghost here. But what you can do with Timid is if you go about 60 investment, you outspeed another max speed Dragonite, and then you can get off a Will-O-Wisp on it, and it's not going to be happy if it gets burned. After that, again, just going for some good solid physical defense. 180 is all you need just to give it a stat of 100 with the Violite. Nice solid even number. Same thing here with the Spadef, and that's really all I need out of my Magmar. The Rillaboom, again, another Assault Vest user, with the Grassy Surge, Terra Fire stuff. Again, standard set with Fake Out, Grassy Glide, Wood Hammer, and then the standard U-Turn pivot move option. So 2 pivot users, 2 Fake Out users, and 1 strong special, quote unquote strong, but 1 good damage special attacker over here, right? So in terms of EVs, I just want my Ninetales to do some big damage. So Timid 252, 252 is all I really want. I get to outspeed Garchomp. That's what I care about. Dragapult, same thing. I still just want a straight jolly 252 set out of this thing, you know, just to do as much damage as possible. And then the Sneasler we already talked about. Oh my goodness, a lot of 252 stuff. That's not the Clover I know. All right, this one, Adamant. Again, standard Adamant. Let's just go max attack here. A little bit of speed, a little bit, just for potential mirror matchups. And then after this, just dump the rest into HP like this. We already just showed you Magmar. Rillaboom here. So let's. I like this set right now. So like 196 Adamant to the third bump. Of course, 132 investment for optimal HP number. And then I like 100 speed right now. Again, this is just to outspeed modest Pelipper. 76 Spadef, you know, just to get this to also 100 stat, triple digits, and then just 1 point into defense like that. And that's our Rillaboom set. So again, this is variant number 2. Let me just check the Terras real quick. Yeah, again, so, you know, it's basically Sneasler pulled balance, but now you have a Choice Specs Ninetales clicking Blizzard, controlling the weather for you, giving you speed control with Icy Wind. So I did like this a lot when I was testing it. Originally it wasn't Specs, but you know, the more I tested, I was like, you know what, Specs actually is quite good. Okay, he's got the T-Tar Sand stuff with Buzz and Instant, Goldengo, and Dragonite. So double dragons from him as well. But again, we can kind of force the issue here because we have the faster dragon and Dragon Bolts here. So I kind of want to just pin that slot here. So Garchomp, and there is Tyranitar. This is still fine, right? So we're kind of forcing him to Terra here. So I'm going to go into Ninetales, take away the T-Tar weather. And I don't want to keep my Ghost typing, so I kind of just need to Terra Dragon here. So he's actually Terra Fairy Garchomp. Very interesting, but T-Tar takes a lot of damage. He actually just clicks Earthquake and kills his own Tyranitar. So that, I don't know about that play, but it works for us. So now he goes into Dengo. I'm just going to get the Dragon Bolt out of here first. Let's get the Gambit in position here. A little bit risky, especially if he clicks a ground move. But I do miss the Freeze Drive, which is interesting, right? But he's clicking Earthquake. I think this is the ban set. But, you know, I also still don't think so because, again, I didn't drop to that. But anyway, Sucker Punch, we remove the Goldengo, and now he just goes Dragon Claw. That's not doing anything, right? So now he goes back into Instant. The Gambit gets a boost now. The Ninetales is just still kind of chilling here. I'm just going to click double protect first just to see what he's trying to do here. So it's Fake Out into Gambit, and it is just a Dragon Claw into the Gambit slot. So now that we know that, so now Instant protects. I'm surprised it has protect. We just suckered the Garchomp here, and we outspeed it. So there's the Blizzard. So Garchomp, you didn't get a chance to do what you needed to do, so we just did that. And now we can go into Sneasler here. We can Encore lock him. So there's the lock that we mentioned. He has to protect twice, so not too much here. Going into Dragon Bolt here first. I'm just memeing with him at this point. But of course, so close combat just doesn't do anything. But I just want to see how much damage Dragon Bolt can do with Outrage, and it actually just, immediately removes it. So that's kind of funny in itself. But yeah. Okay, this is like the hard Trick Room stuff with Hatterene, Torkoal, Ursaluna. So Ninetales is going to be important, but so is Rillaboom because you have Fake Out to stall a turn, and you can pressure that Ursaluna. So I'm going to go Gambit first with the Magmar here, just so that the Torkoal can give me a nice solid boost in the sun. Again, this looks pretty standard. I'm going to go Rillaboom here, change the terrain on them, just take out the Indeedee here. I know he can easily go into Torkoal, but this is why I have Fake Out next turn, even though there is a Trick Room up. So he can do this, and then I can even just click Swords Dance, but he doesn't do that. I'm going to go into Ninetales here. I wanted to change the Torkoal weather here. So the Fake Out doesn't quite work here because he switches into his Ursaluna. Smart play. But again, he's only got 3 more turns of Trick Room left to play with. And again, he has to make a choice. Do I Terra this thing, or do I keep it the same, right? So Protect here on the Ninetales. I wanted to Glide here just to do some damage. And, again, D-Gleam doing a lot, and he clicks Facade. Good play there, right? Could have also even clicked Blizzard, but he ignores the Ninetales. I can't imagine why, but he did, so I get that turn wrong. But I'm going to go into Magmar here just in case if he goes into Torkoal now. He protects that Ursaluna. I just want to get rid of the Hatterene here with Sucker Punch pressure. D-Gleam, decent damage. 1 more turn of Trick Room. Okay. But now from here, I'm going to make a read. I'm going to say that he either goes for his setup play or something like a sub here. But there's the D-Gleam, and that is exactly what he does, because maybe he's thinking like, oh, follow me, protect here, or something like that. But there's the Swords Dance, and we miss the Overheat, which is unfortunate for me, right? But at the end of the day, so King Gambit still has pressure on this Ursaluna. We have some speed. I think we can outspeed this thing. So we removed the Hatterene, and now I'm just going to go for Kowtow Cleave, and I do. So all in all, you didn't really get that much value out of the Ursaluna. We played a little bit better in our position, and after that, it's just Torkoal in the back, but there's no more trick room. All right, so one more here. So this is Murkrow Goldango stuff with Gambit. Then he has his, again, another double Dragon team with Dragapult and Dragonite. This is a weird one. I see 3 ice weaknesses, okay, and I see quite a few fairy weeks as well. 3 fairy weeks, so 3 ice weeks, 3 fairy weeks. So Ninetales has pretty good value here. The only thing you have to worry about really is the Goldango and to an extent the King Gambit, right? So from here, I'm just going to kick things off. So I kind of wanted to just lead my own Gambit here, right? So Goldango, Murkrow here, that's okay. So here's Gambit as a good lead, and there is my Alolan-Ninetales. So it kind of forces the Goldango to make a choice here. I'm going to go Water. He's going to go Steel because he doesn't want to die to the Kowtow Cleave, which is fine. Tailwind is not really going to matter here. Ninetales is able to take this. Not well, but it does take it. So Blizzard, Murkrow actually lives. That's crazy. And then we Kowtow Cleave the Goldango, still fine. That's really, really good damage. We can always pressure here. He goes for Haze. I don't think that does anything for him because we always just pressure with Sucker Punch. And now more Blizzard into the Murkrow. So now he's got 2 more turns of Tailwind, okay? And he's going to go into Pult, and he's going to go into King Gambit. We already know what that Pult has. Of course, it's going to be Bandit. I'm going to go into Magmar here. Goodbye, Dragapult. And the King Gambit can do whatever he wants. He goes for Low Kick, and he kills my own Gambit, right? But after that, now the Magmar just pressures the Gambit. I have Sneasler here, right? I'm just going to click Fake Out, and I click the Overheat button just to see the damage. Of course, decent damage coming out of Magmar. But, of course, now we just always have the close combat here. Right, there's Follow Me. There's the CC, and we say, see you later, my good sir. Right? So, there it is. So, good value out of Ninetales, especially with the pin with the King Gambit. Alright, so there's the 2 paste one more time. And again, we're going to put these in the video description. So hopefully you enjoyed our little coverage of Ninetales. I think, you know, both ways, whether you played the bulky set with the more support options like Encore and Icy Wind is really good, or you can do a little bit more aggressive stuff with the Choice Spec experience. So here's 2 more teams for you to try. Like I said, again, peep the peep the Lab Mouse website to see if you want to try some other stuff with Ninetales. You know, do your research. We showed you a couple of cool tech options that you can use the Ninetales for. But yeah, hopefully that makes a lot of sense. You're going to see Ninetales a lot more in Louisville. I guarantee it. So if you are going, make sure you prep for the Ninetales teams, right? And if you still need a little bit of last minute coaching, if you're still, even if it's not for Louisville, if you just need something overall for Regulation H, don't know where to start, you're stuck, you're not sure what to do, we can help you. So make sure you sign up for coaching on the channel. Tier 3 sub gets you a one-on-one call with me. Then we get to sit down, we get to build the team from scratch, and whatever it is you need it for, whether it be a regional, a tournament, or just maybe just simple ladder play just to have some fun. If you need some help with that, we can do that. So sign up, look at the link in the video description as well as the pinned comment section with the same link. You click it, you can join with the tier 3 sub. You can join the Discord. That's free. You don't need to pay for that. So feel free to come in. We passed 1,000+ members, you know, about a couple weeks ago. So we're looking to keep adding to that. But yeah, that's going to do it for now, folks. We'll be back with another video in the next one. Peace out and have a good one.